What if I told you the coffee you sip every morning, that $4 latte or premium bag from a specialty roaster, is built on a system where the farmer earns almost nothing while you pay plenty more than the bean costs? If you're curious about where your money truly goes, hit the like button, subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories of everyday things, and let's unpack why coffee costs so much even though the growers earn so little. Disclaimer: this is for educational purposes only. When you walk into a cafe and pay $4, $5, or even $7 for a cup of coffee, it feels like you're investing in something special. But the reality is that the raw commodity that makes your brew comes from a long chain, and the person growing the beans gets a tiny fraction of the final price. According to one study, farmers typically receive only around 20% of the value of a kilogram of coffee sold, and some estimates go much lower. For every dollar paid at the shop, less than 1 cent reaches many smallholders. Another breakdown shows that a brewed cup costing roughly $2.80 in a specialty store corresponds to about 15 cups per pound of roasted beans. But the farmer's share of that is tiny. That means you're paying for much more than the bean. Let's walk through the chain. First, the farmer plants, cultivates, harvests, processes, often drying or pulping, the coffee cherries. They deliver to cooperatives or middlemen who export the green beans. Then roasters buy beans, roast, package, label, ship to cafes, where you buy your drink. Along this journey, costs stack: labor, land, fertilizer, harvest equipment, processing, shipping, duties, roasting, packaging, retail rent, wages, marketing. For example, one global analysis shows that though the green bean export price might be a couple of dollars per pound, by the time it's roasted and sold retail, it might cost $8 or more per pound in the roaster's cost base. Meanwhile, many farmers receive less than the cost of their production. Small-scale coffee farmers, often in regions like Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia, face volatile commodity prices, climate risks, low yields, and limited bargaining power. Many don't own land outright or must hire seasonal labor and still make less than what's needed for a living income. One study found that paying workers a living wage in Honduras would increase production costs by at least 1.75 times compared to current wages. Another found that 64% of farms in a Colombian survey did not reach a living income. These realities mean farmers work hard but see little benefit when the finished product commands a high price. While farmers are squeezed upstream, a lot of the value, honestly, accrues downstream. Roasters, importers, and retailers often capture the larger share of profits. One recent breakdown found farmers got about 1/5 of the value in a kilogram of coffee. Roasters and retailers captured about 1/5 and just over 1/5 respectively, with the rest going to transport, taxes, and exporting costs. So, the image of the grower as the major beneficiary of your cup is, well, largely false. Most of the margin is further down the line. Imagine a café charging $4 for a cup. If that cup comes from beans that cost maybe 2 or 3 cents of that price, on the farmer side, the rest covers everything else. According to industry data, the farm gate price for green beans can be under $1 per pound in some years. Even that, honestly, underlines how thin the margin is for growers. Meanwhile, a specialty coffee shop might generate tens of dollars of revenue per pound of brewed coffee equivalents. You might ask, if the bean costs so little, why do cafes charge so much? A few key reasons. 1. The cost of retail operations, rent, staff, equipment, utilities, is high. 2. Value-added functions such as roasting specialty beans, brand premium, origin story, certifications, packaging, all add cost. 3. Consumers pay extra for convenience, ambiance, service, and experience. You're not just paying for coffee, you're paying for a moment. 4. Supply chain inefficiencies, middlemen markups, shipping, tariffs, all build up. 5. Risk and volatility in farming mean businesses upstream must price in margin to hedge uncertainty. Knowing all this gives you choice. When you purchase that coffee, you can ask, is this bean sourcing fair? Does the farmer earn a living wage? Certifications like Fair Trade, Direct Trade, and origin-specific microlots aim to give more value back to growers, though they don't always guarantee a living wage. As a consumer, you might pay slightly more and support better practices, or you might seek out simpler, less branded coffee and save. From an industry standpoint, sustainability depends increasingly on whether farmers can continue to make a living growing coffee. Climate change, low prices, and rising costs of production threaten that viability. The shift toward more transparent value chains, sustainable farming practices, and direct trade relationships show promise. Some companies are trying to pay premiums to farmers, reduce layers of middlemen, or invest in infrastructure at origin, but these models need scale and systemic change. If the status quo holds, we may see more farms staying out of business, less supply, and higher prices, paradoxically pushing up your café tab even higher. So next time you take that first sip of coffee, remember you're part of a complex global story. A farmer somewhere worked early dawn for little return while the aroma, the service, the brand, and the cafe experience push the price up. Your daily caffeine fix is more than a drink. It's the tip of an economic iceberg. If you found this eye-opening, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more deep dives into everyday products and leave a comment. What product would you like us to break down next?